Previously on Blogz.
Yes, hello. How are
Hello, superstar.
Hi, Tank.
you? Hello, people. How's life?
All good yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you.
Front row Grunt joining us for Blogz. Sport Billy says is sitting quietly on the other side on Skype. And I see you've got your new avatar up, which is Yapi Mulder.
Yapi? Someone far more famous than Yapi, Darren.
Let me increase it. Oh, okay. That's the world's greatest number 10.
Yeah, from the movie 10, which is a
The
classic.
greatest number 10 that we've ever seen, huh?
Ever seen.
That should be a Blogz topic.
Colin
worst-
Moss's performance in
The
number
worst
10.
sports movies ever made.
It's a contender. It's a big contender.
And I'd say
that
number
movie.
10 must
Number
is not
10
number 10, it's number 1.
Number 10 was a love story, it was a family drama, and it was a sports classic. It was everything.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, no, it's a joke.
Oh, you're missing a beaut.
Apparently
Consider your life
of
not
D-grade
complete.
cinema.
No, I think I'll pass. Didn't Nas actually have a...
Nas was
guest-
in there.
He's in the movie.
Nas was telling him how to kick properly and stuff.
Yeah.
And also talk like a.
Mendoza was playing in that movie. He was
Mendoza was there as well, yeah.
Mendoza was the fiery inside centre or something.
But apparently, from what I hear, they had to cut his script down a little bit because he just didn't pitch on some days.
Oh, really?
For shooting, yeah. So from what was supposed to be a bigger role for him, turned out to be a more minor role.
And Blades was in it.
Was he?
Yes. He was
Alright.
doing a bit of commentary, I think, with Kobus Visser, I think.
There we go.
I'm ashamed of us for knowing so much about this movie.
And I still don't feel inspired to go and see it.
I've
Sorry,
seen-
Billy.
I've seen it twice.
No, you guys scare me with how much you know about number 10. Huh?
Hey, well, there you go. You scare us that you got him as your avatar. But there it is, Colin Moss. Whatever the hell happened to him? What's he doing now?
I don't know, I think he's still doing stand-up gigs. Doesn't he work for Two Oceans, Tank?
This I can't answer, not through obstinance, but through lack of knowledge, I'm afraid.
In
I think he did at one stage.
His contract with them says that he's not allowed to discuss their
their
formatting
programming.
on, programming
Oh, okay.
on balls. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Blogz, guys. So the 4 subjects that we had were all rugby related. 2 of them very similar about the Argentines. So just run through the subjects, Simon.
Okay, the addition of Argentina has devalued the best rugby tournament in the world. Don't know whose that was.
Who will tell us? Whose was it?
I don't know.
That was mine.
Okay, that's Sport Billy's.
Bonus points, a modern day scourge or powering, exciting, try scoring rugby.
That was Tanks.
Thanks.
Are the All Blacks the force they once were?
Oh, what a topic that is.
Okay.
That was pretty weak, Kopinski, I must admit.
Is that
What are you
yours,
talking
Ben?
about? It's a great topic. The fear isn't there anymore.
I don't
We
know.
all know
I
we
don't know,
can
I'm
take
still
them.
pretty scared of them.
Yeah, me too.
Argentina, welcome
woman,
addition to the rugby championship or too much rugby?
That was me.
Simply Sean. So, as we say, 2 of those are fairly similar. What was the winning topic?
The winning topic was topic number 4 by a vote. By a
one
single vote.
That's-
Argentina
Which may or may not have come in.
at the very last minute.
From Sean while he was sitting here waiting for Blogz to start.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so we'll talk about Argentina and their new presence in, I suppose it's pretty appropriate, seems we're playing them in Mendoza this weekend. Their presence in Super Rugby, in the Castle Lager Championship, that's what we must call it. Just on that All Blacks topic, do you seriously think that, they're no longer a threat like they used to be?
Yeah,
I
because
think they're at the best they've probably been in a long time.
Yeah, we play them so often nowadays, though, so that constant aura of them being invincible is taken away. Because you play them like in watered down rugby and Super Rugby, then you get 3 cracks at them in one of these tournaments, and then half their players are in going to Japan or getting new tattoos done, or
Yeah.
it's not quite the same.
Yeah. Tank, what do you
They've
reckon?
still got a win ratio of like 85% or
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm talking about the actual fear. You know, like you'd think you'd never be able to beat them, whereas now you think that you got a good chance. The results
But you
might
still
be
get
kind of
beaten,
similar.
Nope, I
I don't
feel
think
like that at
anyone's
all.
got any chance of beating them in any game this. I hate to say it, but in this
Yeah,
championship.
well, I'm going to cock and block right here and say I think we will this year.
All right, Tank.
You know, I mean, I'd agree that the fear is gone, and it's a bit like when it's a little bit strange with the Ike versus the Marties. You just never thought you had a chance of beating them. So I think that fear is gone. However,
Told you.
without that fear, we still beat them comprehensively, though. We still get beaten comprehensively. So yeah, I think it makes them even better. So yes, the fear is gone, and we probably think that we can beat them, but we don't. So I think there's still an aura to the All Blacks, I must say. I mean, they're just the best team in the world by a stretch.
I don't want there to be one. I want to try and bring that record post-isolation back where it's getting further,
we will.
gaps
This year
getting
we will.
bigger and bigger. All right, we'll see if Mr. Kopinski wants to put some cash on that, Sean.
I might be good for a flatter there. Got to make me say I might be good for a flatter on there.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to talk about, what was the other losing one, by the way? Bonus points. What was what is your thinking there, Tank?
Well, actually, Sean wrote an entire post on it, but
Didn't bore you, Tank.
It's an interesting one because Sean pulled out some stats there, which not mine, but it is saying that points difference would be good enough to I don't know, if teams were ended on equal points difference would normally be a good enough deciding factor. But I think the one thing that perhaps was left out is that we still want guys to score tries. I'm not sure if it's working, but at least if you have the winning, the 4-try bonus point, you do get sides trying to score tries, and that for me is what you want. Certainly what we want from the Springboks. I don't know. I'm sitting on the fence on whether they should be there or not, but perhaps take away the losing bonus point and just keep the winning bonus point and try and get some more tries into the game.
But Tank, what about? I think you'll agree with me here, but pushover tries should be extra bonus point.
One for the real purists. Yeah.
You know what would make tries more effective in the game? There's two things on that subject. The one I've been going on about for a while now, but is to actually increase the number of points for wins. Mm-hmm. So even if it's like 10 or 20 points for a win, because that way you can actually bring points for tries into the competition. So if you have like 20 points for your win and you still have your bonus points for finishing within a certain amount, blah blah blah, but then you give a point for every try as well that you score, because in that way, when it basically makes scoring tries at any time of a game, any time in a competition, you could pick up a couple of points for every try that you score in the game.
Stormers would be in trouble.
But Darren as well, I mean, you get games like that one a couple of years ago with the Chiefs and the Lions at Ellis Park.
Yeah, 38-37, that comeback game.
No,
67-65.
67-74, I think the score was. Now, I think by all accounts we can all agree that was a pretty bad game of rugby, where we all want more tries. That game was just so loose, and the idea of rewarding, like the Chiefs got 5 points out of that game, and the Lions got 2 points out of that game, whereas you'll go to like a rainy day in Canterbury and lose by 8 points. Play a lot better and get more. Now your theory will just increase games like that getting rewarded.
Sure, but we shouldn't take him too seriously. Yesterday he was proposing cricketing orgies of test matches and T20s in the same day.
That's what we need.
He's living a life of excess this week.
And don't forget also the other one is a top 12 golf tournament. No, but I'm okay. So if I gave you 2 Betamax tapes, all right.
Still talking sport. Keep it.
If I gave you 2 Betamax tapes, one of them had the
Isn't
Sharks.
What the Jordanians got up to?
Sorry, is that Jordania?
Okay, 2 Betamax tapes. If your next sentence starts with 70s German, I'm out of here.
No, I gave you 2 Betamax tapes, okay, or VHS if you want to bring it up to today's technology. 2 VHS tapes. One of them has the Sharks versus Reds. 3. What was it? 6-3. The worst.
6-5 was
the worst Super Rugby game ever played. But all you saw was their Sharks Reds 5-3 or 6-5 and Lions against Cheetahs 74-67. Which one would you watch?
I would
watch
that's
the
two
tries.
extremes. I would definitely watch the tries. The point being, like, I'll give you like the Crusaders beating the Sharks in a near game, or when it's like, let's say 25 points to, or even let me flip it for you because I know you're a Sharks fan. Let's say the Sharks beating the Crusaders 29-25. Ask a neutral to watch that, or watch them to watch the basketball fest with the Chiefs and the Lions at Ellis Park a couple of years ago.
People still love to see tries.
They love tries, but I wouldn't reward them for just jokeful defense.
Let's just not get all IPL about this now. I think there's enough. There's enough right with rugby we can stick it onto it. But Tank, I did want to quickly ask you one thing. Do you also think that the bonus point is potentially sort of degrading a decent win? Because nowadays we almost have like this culture of Darren Scottism. You can think that unless it's to the max, then what's the point?
Yeah, I did see your tweet on that. It does, but Shepard, we have to move away from the Stormers. We just can't have that kind of rugby happening anymore. And I think the Boks are moving that way as well. Look, I mean, sure, you're going to have the odd tight test match, and it is going to be whatever 9-5. But yeah, we have to find a way where we trying to play more entertaining, expensive rugby. You know, I think the bonus point is trying to do that. The other two considerations perhaps worth looking at is that you only get your bonus point if you score 4 tries more than the other team.
Yeah.
Or you make the try like Varsity Cup 6 points. And then you take away the bonus point and you make it more about points difference, and then your points difference is going to be greater if you score more tries. I don't know, there's a couple of scenarios you could work with, but yeah, the being focused on a bonus point, yeah, is quite worrying, especially if the game is good enough. But I think worryingly we're going towards a time when the game isn't good enough. That's what concerns me.
Yeah, okay, well, Sean's blown my theory out the window, and you've kind of dabbled into the similar kind of territory. The other point I want to make before we move on, because Tank, don't indulge too much on your losing subject, is
it's a losing bonus point for Tank.
There we go. I hate it when it comes to semis and final time, because teams are taking their kicks at goal. You know, and that's the thing. You lose all the. You know, it becomes down to you need to win by a point. And that's I mean, you're never going to get away from it, but that's what it comes down to. In the semi and a final, teams are basically taking their kicks at goal, and it sometimes becomes a bit of a penalty fest, as opposed to teams trying to go out there and score tries.
Okay, Darren, in your world, then when are you meant to go get a fresh beer or send a tweet out then?
During a penalty.
Kicks of goal, that's what brings all the perspective for us.
I'm going to be watching your tweets very closely from now on in the next rugby matches. All right, that's it on Tank's subject. Our topic today is, what are we going to call it? Argentina. Should they be there or shouldn't they be there? Is that basically what it comes down to?
No, welcome addition to the Rugby Championship, or too much rugby?
In other words, should they be there or shouldn't they be there? Yeah, because it does make for more rugby, more games, more travel. And we're obviously throwing Super Rugby into it, and John O'Neill's wish list of having teams playing every week for 52 weeks. So he's got something to show Rugby Union on Australian TV. But that's what it comes down to, right, Sean?
Well, that's it. I mean, really, if you put it in that way, one thing about including Argentina in this tournament is that it doesn't include more rugby for the Tri-Nations as such. Because we were working on a system as a Post World Cup years, which you were playing 6 games each. And now we've gone back to that, and now we've gone to that system, everyone just playing each other home and away. So on a structural level, the tournament makes more sense without increasing more rugby. Yes, the flight schedule has increased for everyone, which is also a worrying thing. But on that level, if we can't get away from having less games in the Tri-Nations, we're having it 6, I'm all for Argentina being in and trying to grow the game. I was disappointed on the weekend for a lot of people to see Newlands not full, to see them play. So maybe in the future there's other venues to look at that are possibly a bit more starved of what we used to call the artists formerly known as Tri-Nations Rugby, like maybe places like Bloemfontein or the Bombella Stadium in Nelspruit.
PE.
But I'm definitely all for it. I'm not sure if all of you agree.
Well, I would like to say it, just to come in second drop here. I think it's fine. I think Argentina can definitely play. It brings a nice element. But about the whole more rugby thing, if we could just cut back on that stupid Super Rugby expansion, we wouldn't have this problem in the first place.
I mean, that's where the Sands of Seasons problem is, isn't it? Is Super Rugby, not in this tournament.
Yeah, bring on the Rugby Championship with its 4 teams. I think it brings a nice element in.
Billy?
Yeah, I'm in disagreement here. I think I don't understand the romance that we have with Argentinian rugby.
Have you seen their fans?
I've seen their fans, but you can see them on TV. We don't have to go there and play them, you know. They ask quite something to look at.
You really are cold.
Really.
All right, Billy, we're going to ask you to hold that point. They call it in radio a cliffhanger. You are going against our 2 answers so far, Bounce and Simply Sean in studio, because you are against the inclusion of Argentina into the championship. We'll find out why when we've had a look at our sports headlines. So give you a chance just to get your thoughts together. Thank you as well. We're going to hold on to our phone line and Skype, so don't go anywhere. And in the next 5 minutes, back with Blogz again here on Balls Visual Radio. Argentina is what we're talking about. Should they or should they not be there, basically, in this whole, what is the word you can use? Crammed year of rugby. There's just so much damn rugby going on at the moment that they have to even squeeze a test series in the middle of a Super Rugby competition. It becomes very disjointed. So that's what we're talking about. Right, it is Blogz continuing. Sport Billy says on Skype, Tank Lanning, front row grunt on the phone, and Simply Sean and Follow the Bounce in studio. So Sport Billy left us with the big cliffhanger there, disagreeing with Bounce and Simply Sean. Are you still there, Tank?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, no, it just sounded like a crackle on the line. And that was that you disagree that Argentina shouldn't be there, Billy?
Yeah, I just think that I don't know, for some reason there seems to be a bit of sort of romanticism between Sorry and the RGs. I mean, you think we've got the Pampers 15 playing in our Vodacom Cup, which is, I mean, I think everyone admits is a reasonably terrible competition, but we invited them over for that. We have Regan Hoskins last Friday saying that he wants Argentina to have a side in the Curry Cup. I mean, I don't know if you guys heard that, but I think Tank was there as well. But a mate of mine was there, and apparently Regan was saying it's what everyone wants. We want Argentina in the Curry Cup.
I don't think any Argentine side would want to be that, because imagine every second week's away game.
It would pose serious problems.
No, they would go to Poch like the Pampers did.
Oh, just based themselves there. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what's got Regan on this whole, we're in love with Argentina all of a sudden thing. Perhaps, looking at some of the spectators, you never know. But yeah, and then if you just look at what used to be the Tri-Nations, I mean, it was historically the best three sides in the world. There wasn't often that any of us weren't rated in the top three. I mean, Argentina I had a look at their stats against what used to be the Tri-Nations opposition, and they've won 9% of their games that they've ever played against the three countries, and all of those wins are against Australia, of which there was one in 79, one in 83, one in 87, and one in 97. So I mean, it's few and far between. The Aussies give them one once a decade or so. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they're ever going to be competitive. I don't think we're ever going to see Argentina winning the competition. And for me, if you're not in it to win it, what's the point?
Are you claiming match fixing from the Aussies?
You never know. Huh?
But how can you just throwing it out there? How can you expect them to improve if they're not facing the quality opposition that the Box get to face every year?
But why is this our problem? Like, let them go and play against Fiji and Samoa. Those guys are dying for a tournament, of meaning. I mean, whatever happened to the Pacific Islanders? Surely they should have been more deserving of Argentina.
They're playing for New Zealand now.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I think that team would have been more deserving of getting into the Sanzar. But obviously, it doesn't bring the revenues coming from those small islands. But if you look at the players that are actually playing rugby, a lot of them, as we know, originate from those islands, and I think it would have been fantastic to rather include that Pacific Islands team. But that's been thrown out. Yeah, I mean, I just think that they're not going to be competitive. I think they need to get their rugby up to standard. They're lying 9th in the world at the moment, or 8th in the world, and if they want to come and play with the big boys, I think they need to produce something a bit more spectacular than they currently do.
But don't you think that's a way that's counting against spreading the game globally? Because the one thing about rugby is when you look at World Cups coming up, you I almost look at it with a hope that maybe you'll get more than basically 6 teams competing again in a World Cup, because you go through the seeded teams, and like the last seeded team is a repechage team, because the game is just not extended enough to enough. I mean, basically it's a game that is contested between 6 countries around the world. You can't really count Scotland as a serious threat to anybody. Yes, now and again we go there, we get pissed the night before, and then we lose a test against them. But generally there's maybe 6 teams, even if that are competing. So you want to spread the game and get more sides up on a par with some of the big boys, Billy.
Yeah, I mean, you do have a point there, Darren, but I just think, in terms of devaluing the actual Tri-Nations, as you could see at Newlands, you know what I mean? Suddenly you've got a Tri-Nations game and you can't fill a stadium, which is, for me, is not what it's about. From the inception, it was a fantastic tournament. I think, we were the whipping boys for a couple of years, but we seem to have got our act together in the last sort of 5 or 8 years or so, and it's relatively competitive. Every game, any side can win, and suddenly we're going to see a situation now where that's not the case. I mean, if Argentina win one game this whole Tri-Nations, it will be a success for them, which for me, we have so many of these wishy-washy competitions. I like a strength versus strength.
Tank?
Okay, a few things. Just on the romantic side.
I was worried you were going to say that. Just remember your flights on Saturday morning, eh?
Yes, are we sitting together?
I knew you were going to ask. You're talking about Leanne Roberts, aren't you?
Yes.
Starts again.
Yeah, there we go. I knew you were going to bring that up somewhere. Should never have mentioned you were on the same flight. Right, back to the topic at hand.
Back in the days when we were ostracized by the world, Argentina, via the Pumas or whatever the name went by, they helped us out. They gave us a few games when no one else would.
The Jaguars.
Yeah, the Jaguars. Hence the romance. And so, right from those days, in late 80s, 90s, they've always been a side that has been regarded by Saru as a side that helped us out, and we've always looked to help them out in a way, in return. So that's the romantic side, just in reply to Billy's question. The comparison I think that one must make is with Italy in the Six Nations, and there I think that backs up exactly what Sport Billy's saying, that they never win games. When they do, they go on a 7-day piss-up because it just never happens. Mallet even said so on Supersport, that it's such a miracle when they win a game in the Six Nations, that they're crying and they're hugging and they're drinking. It's just ridiculous. So I do think it'll take a long time. And Federico Mendes actually said in the press today, saying, look, it's going to take 7 years. The Boks were at 40% on Saturday and still hammered them by 20 points. And so, that speaks exactly to Billy's point. I'm kind of ambivalent. I like the fact that we've got new faces there. I do think that the game needs to go more global. And Darren, I think you've got a fantastic point. This game needs to get into Asia. This game needs to get into America. I mean, it's obviously already there, but it's hopeless. And I think the IRB has to have an objective to grow the game, and they would have put some pressure on Zanzibar as well to grow the three nations into our four nations.
On that subject, by the way, the one thing, growing the game's one thing, but one thing I hate is watching World Cups where you have some of these other teams that are suddenly getting a bit better, but they're only better because they've got 4 South Africans, 3 New Zealanders. Yeah. I cannot wait to see what Japan are going to have when they host the World Cup. Yep. Farid Dupree at scrum half, Ryan Kankowski at 8. Garrick Morgan comes back and plays lock for them. I mean that isn't spreading the game. That's basically spreading your pool of players in your 5 countries around the world. That doesn't count.
It's spot on, and you know what? The same could be said for the Kings. One of the reasons, I know we're not going to discuss that tonight, and sorry, Ben, for bringing it up.
No, Tank, I was about to say the exact same thing. This whole conversation is coming back to the Kings, which is a complete contradiction of Billy's earlier argument. Because if you were to substitute Argentina for Kings, he would actually be arguing against his original point about it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not getting you there.
No, because like Billy, because of all your reasons about why you're so for the Kings, you're now using those exact reasons to be against Argentina.
I'm for the Kings because I live 2 hours from PE.
Anyway,
let's get that out in the clear.
Anyway, sorry, Tank. Go back.
But one of the objectives of the Kings should be that they can't take Lions players, they can't take Province players. Don't give them win objectives. Give them other objectives where they got to grow the area. So give them 5 years in Super Rugby, but they're not allowed to poach a single player. They've got to develop players from within. So I agree with you totally there, Darren. Not that the RGs are doing that. I must say they lack an internal competition. Hence them playing Vodacom Cup. But a lot of their players play in France now. They're individually actually quite good players. I mean, Hernandez, Contepomi, Lobe. I mean, these guys are good players. They've got a fairly good front row. You don't think it will take as long as 7 years. I mean, I think in 4 or 5 years they'll probably be competitive as long as the internal structure is correct. But just to put a different perspective on things, I had a long chat to the Province boys before I wrote my column today, why they had empty seats. And you could look at the amount of rugby being played, the crappy weather in Cape Town, the Olympic was on. There's just a huge avalanche of sport on TV. But the bottom line is that it was Argentina, and they couldn't sell a ticket. The tickets priced from $100 up to $450, and basically the Olympic got stand at 10,000 people missing from it, and it just boils down to opposition. So, and that speaks again to Sport Billy's point. So I think, if one's going to enjoy the Argentinians in the Four Nations or in the current competition, the Castle Rugby Championship, then it has to be with a view to growing the game. So you put on your RB hat and you're doing something good for rugby, but not at the expense of say a big union like Province, who then can't even break even on a test. So I think there's a lot of factors that need to be brought into play here. one of them being money, and perhaps the RRP should be chipping in a bit.
Well, I think the one name that hasn't been mentioned in this whole thing who is to blame and should be mentioned is John O'Neill. Because if you think about it, if we didn't have John O'Neill trying to shove rugby down our throats and calling the shots for Sanzar and Southern Hemisphere rugby, we could have a Super 12, even a Super 10. I don't think we should have more than 3 teams in this competition, but we would have a Super 12. Just think about how more anticipated games would be. A Super 12, we would have a tour 1 year, so an incoming tour, and a Castle Championship every other year, which does feature Argentina. Then it wouldn't be a problem. Then you would probably find that people would buy tickets and fill out a stadium for an Argentina test as well. The problem is that, first of all, there's just too much going on, so you've got to pick and choose what rugby you do want to go and watch. So at the moment, Argentina is a less attractive proposition than watching your home team play in a Super Rugby game. It might change. But the other thing is, how much money do people have to spend on going to rugby matches? Even if you are a season ticket holder, whatever, the costs of buying all the stuff and getting there and all that, and you eventually you can't go and watch games every week. And at the moment, Argentina are not the most attractive proposition when you know the All Blacks in Australia are coming.
100%. 100%.
So John O'Neill should be told to piss off.
I agree with that.
Right.
More coarse language at high echelon.
Yes, exactly. There we go.
Very good.
See, we need Doc Late back again, because I think he would tell him.
Just tell him straight. None of these strongly worded letters. None of that.
Nothing whatsoever. All right, look at the time already, guys. So, final thoughts from everybody. Let's start off first of all with you, Billy. You're against him.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm against weakening the competition. I think the game can be spread through other mechanisms. I think Argentina playing in a competition with Pacific Islands, or that's what's the Pan-Pacific competition, whatever they call it. Teams like Scotland, Italy. It would be to go and get caned is not going to do anything for their rugby. But I think if anyone should be playing, it should be the Pacific Island team. I don't see why we need to include Argentina. They can go and play against Canada and the States or something.
Well, if they did play and they actually had someone put money in there, you would find the players not buggering off to New Zealand to go and play their rugby there and play test rugby. If they could keep their own players, and imagine how strong they would be.
Yeah, for sure. And big up to Scotland, who went on tour there. When last did any of us ever tour any of the islands? Never. And Scotland toured there, what was it, beginning of this year, I think.
Well, we've done it for time.
Yeah,
it's the main thing. Everyone points fingers at Saints are not going to the Pacific Islands, but when do we squeeze in that weekend?
Yeah,
Scotland could when everyone else was playing everyone
Scotland's
else.
also quite keen for a game.
They keen for a win. They thought they might win that one.
We can fly to Wales for one test match to open a stadium, but we can't go to Fiji. Come on.
Yeah.
Remember the Samoan game in the World Cup? You fly all the way over to one of the Pacific Islanders and they'll take your head off and then they rack your nuts off. They're not exactly friendly.
Rack your nuts off.
Tweet that. Yeah.
Tweet it, tag. Now, I'm in agreement with Billy, but purely for the reason that I just don't like the brand of rugby that Argentina plays. It probably speaks to the fact that they don't get enough quality opposition, but I found last week's game quite boring. And if it's going to be a whole series like that, then what, count me out.
Yeah, where's the old Tucumán fight or the Bayada?
Yeah, they were so subdued.
Back.
I was expecting a couple of punch-ups.
No, they're not living up to their pre-tournament billing, I'm afraid. We've put pictures up on Facebook about Jean getting attacked by 3 Argentines. That's what we expect from them. Where have they gone? They've become soft since they've been playing in France. That's why. They've become pansies.
That's probably because Regan Hoskins said you must behave, because we've invited you. That's not how we draw her.
All right, so 2 say they should be there, 2 say they shouldn't be there. I say John O'Neill must piss off. That's it. That's all the time we've got for Blogz today. Tank, thanks a lot, bud. We'll see you on Saturday. Castle Lager Murray Cup final. Rovers against Crusaders. You'll be in the commentary box.
How's the show going, Tank?
Exceptionally well. You won't believe the listenership numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Dynamics all over like
I heard you had Matt Pearce on last week.
I had, remember it was you had your voice of rugby.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You take your life in your own hands.
Copyright infringement.
That's Blades' title, eh? And he's pissed off.
All right, Tank, have a good one. We'll see you on Saturday. Fly safe, man. Cheers, and don't harass Leanne.
Well, not too badly.
Cheers, Tank. Bye-bye.
Rucker nuts off.
Hey, stop it. Oh, geez, now we're going to have to find someone else to come down. Oh, geez, Hill. Cheers, Tank. All right, Billy, thanks a lot, buddy. Nice to chat to you again. We look forward to your topic for next week.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Have a good one. And also your tweets as well. Check him out at SportBillySays. And Bounce and Sean, thank you, guys.
Cool, man. Always good to be here.
Yeah, we look forward to your subjects next Thursday. Once again, Blogz here on Balls Visual Radio.
We the best on 3. 1, 2, 3. We the best.
2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mondays to Fridays live on balls.co.za. Balls.co.za.